When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast. I'm super excited today to be having a chat with my old friend, Phil Hahn from Victoria, British Columbia. How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing great, Andre. Thanks for having me on your podcast. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. So for those that may not have heard of Phil, you should have by now, because he was number one in the nation for Keller Williams a while back. He was top 10 worldwide for KW. He's got over $1 billion in sales and a very successful real estate investor as well. Pretty well known in the real estate industry, and excited. Phil, tell us a little bit more about your real estate background and what you've been up to, and give some value to our listeners today.
That's great, Andre. Well, again, thank you for having me, and it's a real pleasure being here. Got into real estate in the early 2000s, April 2002 to be exact, and more out of necessity than anything else. I had 3 young kids at the time, had a booming international car business where I was exporting high-end cars throughout the U.S., the Middle East, Europe, and that blew up in a fantastic, spectacular manner in, I want to say, late 2000. And so my spouse at the time had said, well, why don't we get into real estate? You know, you're a great salesperson and you've been blessed with massive success in anything you've ever sold. So let's look into real estate. So I got a job working as a laborer in my friend's concrete finishing business, working in construction while I did my real estate license. It took me about 6 months or so. I think I failed once or twice. No, actually it took me over a year to get it. Failed once or twice and was doing the concrete finishing work while I was getting licensed. So I'd work from about 6 a.m. until about 6 p.m. 6 days a week. And then on evenings and my one day off, I would, work on the course. And I'd lost about 35 to 40 pounds just by doing that hard work within 90 days. And I actually felt great. You know, I was feeling really alive and healthy and excited to get into to the real estate space. And so I interviewed a bunch of brokerages, okay, but there was one in my local community that I thought, okay, well, they have an office, and this, Andre's back when, we used to go to the office, right?
Yeah.
And so they had a nice new office in a nice part of town, and I thought, wow, this is a nice brokerage, and it was a national chain with a French-Canadian name. And so I decided, well, this is going to be the place where I'm going to hang my hat. And so that was April 2002, April 2nd to be exact. And they were really nice to me at the beginning. It was great. When I started, I put my goal, I put the number 100 and I wrote it on a piece of paper and then I printed on a bunch of papers and I put it all over my little office. They actually gave me an office, which was kind of cool. So I had my own office with the number 100 everywhere. Okay. And people would come in and they'd say, what's that? And I'd say, well, I'm going to sell 100 houses before year end. And they'd say, well, no one's ever done that. You're not going to do that.
Right.
Because that's just not the way it works here. Okay. And so that was a bit of an aha to me that, okay, clearly maybe I'm not in an environment that is conducive to my success and support my big, hairy, audacious goals.
Right.
And so whatever, I shrugged it off because I was so focused on winning, right? I had no money. I had 3 young kids. I was in debt up to, over here, way over my head. And so I had to swim. There was no sinking, right? I had to swim and I had to soar. So I came up with a strategy that I would do a food drive from my local food banks, and in the process, I would introduce myself to local homeowners. And so what I did is I went to Staples and I printed off a bunch of flyers, just saying I had a name for my team called Hahn for Homes. It was me and my spouse. But I was the one that was out there trading. And so I'd knock on doors and I'd give the flyer and I'd say, my name's Phil from Hahn for Homes. Do you have a non-perishable item for a food bank? And so people would say, sure, yeah, here you go. Wait, they'd come back with a can or box of Kraft Dinner or something. And so I'd get that. And I'd say, by the way, can I interest you in a complimentary home evaluation of your property? I'm also in the real estate business. And so that's how I started my business. And I would do it for 3 to 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. Okay. Wow. So not all day, and not every day, but 6 days a week, pretty steadily. And that turned into a massive little community real estate business. So let's fast forward about 6 months into my real estate career, and I get a call from the manager of the office. And the manager says, okay, we need you to stop putting your sales on the board because you're alienating your peers and colleagues in the office because it's your name that's always up there. Because we used to have a sales board where you'd put your new listing in your sale, and I'd put H for H, which was Hahn for Homes. I'd just have H for H. And so I was told not to do that. So that was another bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, so I can't put my listings up or my sales on the board because it's alienating my colleagues that have been in business for, 20, 30 years in that community. Right. And again, but I was so focused, Andre, that I was just, okay, whatever, just keep going, right? Yeah. And so then after my, by the way, come December 31st, 2002, I didn't do 100 deals. I think I did 96. And so it was, I failed my goal. I was short by about 4 houses, but I'd done what no one else had done before in the marketplace. And then I thought, okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah, to celebrate. So I got myself a Hummer. Because I thought, hey, let's get a Hummer. And what do you do when you have a Hummer? Well, you're going to logo it up, right? You wrap it. So this is in, I want to say early 03, I get a Hummer, I wrap it. And I show up at the office and it's great. And a week into my Hummer being at the office, I get a call from the broker owner of the company saying, can you not park your Hummer near the office because people think you own the office? Okay.
That's a good thing.
I thought it was a great thing because they were always saying, I want to deal with the guys that have the Hummer.
Right.
Right. So anyway, so now I can't park my vehicle. I can't put my sales on the board because it alienates my colleagues. It was so clearly I'm really not in an environment that's conducive to me growing. So I start looking out for mentors and coaching. And this is, I think, where we met, Andre. Right. First was in 2003, I went to a conference in Scottsdale at the JW Marriott for a national coaching company. And it was, my goodness, it was so cool. Like the concepts and what they were teaching. And I met so many great people, yourself, your former business partner, all kinds of great relationships that, the hedge from that initial conference. Right. And so what I did is, being someone of action, I came back to Ottawa at the time, and I printed 300,000 flyers saying your home sold guaranteed or we'll buy it. Because I thought that was just great. Everybody's going to call you for that. And of course, I started sending thousands and thousands out because by this time I've got good cash flow and income and I'm making money, right? I got my Hummer that I can't park anywhere because I'm alienating my colleagues. But anyway, I printed those cards off, and then I get a call from the broker owner. You can't do that. So, and the same thing, like, that's not how we do business here. That's unethical and whatever. So then I went to the real estate council and I got them to give me a letter saying it's fine. And I got a real estate lawyer to say it's totally fine and do up an addendum, and everything was fine anyway. So it was becoming more and more evident that I wasn't in an environment that was conducive to my success, because now
Right.
everything I was doing was being micromanaged as opposed to praised and encouraged, right? And we were selling our homes fast and for top dollar and with the least amount of hassle to our clients. They were having great experiences, and but the brokerage was just not,
Yeah.
not in line with it.
You want to
And
be where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
yeah, you got it. Yeah, big time, Andre, big time, right? And so now we're coming around to summer of 2003, and I call a meeting with my broker owner and the managing broker at the time, and I said, okay, I want to sit down because I want to share something with you guys. I want to sell 300 houses this year. And they looked at me and they said, why can't you be happy with what you're doing now?
Oh man.
Yeah.
How long did
And
you stay at that brokerage?
so that caused me to reach out to, there was a new company in Ottawa at the time, Keller Williams Realty, little company you may have heard of. And they were brand new. And so I reached out to the gentleman that had brought the concept to Ottawa, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Hooper, who's a dear friend and was a dear mentor to me. And I went and I sat with him for hours at his home, and we just talked. And then he challenged me, and I don't remember exactly what it was. He something to the effect that, how could you return to that environment that's not going to support your wild, hairy, audacious goals and what you want to do, right? And so, I realized that, yeah, my fortitude and such was able to, slough all that off, that, be satisfied with what you're doing and this and that. But I needed to be in an environment that really wanted me to win at the highest level.
Right.
And so I want to say it was in November or late fall of 2003 that I partnered with the Keller Williams Ottawa franchise, and the rest was history. I felt like I'd been let out of jail, Andre,
Yeah.
truthfully, that I was in an environment that they wanted me to share with everybody in the office. They wanted me to let them know what I was doing, what was working, what wasn't working. We would have role play sessions all the time with the whole office and the bullpen. And it was an environment that was so conducive to everybody winning and lifting each other up, right? As dear Brent always says, right? A rising tide raises all ships, right?
Right.
So, so I took off. 2004, I think I was number one in the nation, KW, and then 2005 I was number one, and one of the top teams in the world for KW, and 06 same thing, and it was so liberating to be in that amazing environment. And so that's why I'm going to challenge anyone who's listening to this, that if you have those signals where you're in an environment that's, oh, don't do this, or, oh, they're not going to like that, or whatever, it's, listen, as long as you're conducting yourself with integrity and ethically, if you're a no box thinker or marketer, man, surround yourself in an environment that, as Andre was saying earlier, that's going to celebrate you and not tolerate you, right? And so in February of 2006, I had a meeting on the West Coast, and I'd left that. Andre, you were in the Northeast, so you know what snow is and cold is.
Oh yeah.
I got in my Hummer and I drove to the airport, and I remember I was at the gas station and I'm pumping the gas, and it was minus 48 with the wind chill at about 5 a.m. on my way to the airport. And when I was driving the Hummer, it felt like the car was going to break in half. It was so frozen. And the roads were that, they weren't, there wasn't snow on them, but they were that white frozen look, even though there wasn't snow. It was just crazy. So I've got my suit on, I've got my trench coat, ski jacket, my toque, and I'm gassing up. I head to the airport and jump on a plane from Ottawa to Calgary, and then from Calgary to Victoria. And as I'm flying into Victoria, Andre, this is February of 06, it's like I'm flying into the Caribbean. There's white caps, there's waves breaking. It's sunny. I've got like my trench coat on still, and I'm like starting to take off layers because I'm starting to sweat here on the plane. I get off the plane, and I want to say it's about 11 degrees. Okay, 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. Right. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but anyway. And I look around, and I'm like, I'm in the same country. I'm in the same country here, but it's absolutely beautiful and warm. So why am I living in minus 48? This is crazy. And so I called my wife and I said, you know what, we're done. I'm going to sell the business, and I want to come to Victoria, because it was 60 degrees difference within the same
Wow.
country within one day. Okay. And so sure enough, everything was sold by summer of '06, and we'd relocated to Vancouver Island.
Okay.
And then I sold the team, the team that was massively successful. We sold it, and it took about a year and a half off, and then started trading again. I want to say at some point in 2008, had aligned myself with a broker, a Keller Williams brokerage here, but unfortunately that wasn't a match. And so I ended up going to a multi-office Remax situation. Was there for about 7 years. The former owner was a dear friend, Wayne Schrader, very, very classy man, great businessman, and had a great relationship there. And he ended up selling the company, and so we ended up moving back to KW after he had sold the company, and had basically a mega agent office, so our own little independent boutique high-end real estate practice that was our own situation.
And how many homes were you selling in that team at that time?
That team, we're doing about I was more concerned with the volume, 125 to 200 million a year in volume at the time.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
And nice properties, as you know, on the coast. We have these conversations often when we're talking to our agents, that, those average sale prices make a big difference, right? As you know.
Yeah. I know you deal with a lot of luxury properties too.
Yeah. No, we were blessed in that space. And so, I want to say in 2014 or 15, my original realtor, from, call it, almost 30 years ago, starts reaching out to me about this company called EXP. And he sends me a message through, I'll just touch on this shortly, on how come I ended up changing from KW to EXP. But he sends me a message about, you got to look at this. This is really cool. Like, this is, going to change everything. And I was so transactional, Andre, and so busy that I ignored his messages. I said, thanks, Steve. That's great, but I'm too busy. I don't have time. I'm running a massively successful real estate business, and we're just doing transaction after transaction. I'm on the transaction treadmill is what I'm on, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't look at it and didn't look at it. And then, I want to say in late 2015, my parents, their goal was to retire and to move and relocate to the West Coast from Ottawa. And so 3 or 4 days before they're scheduled to move, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, with terminal cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so they had a decision to make as to whether or not, they were going to come and whatever. And they ended up coming. And so they moved in with us in late November 2015. And then I want to say about a month or two after they had landed with us, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer as well. So they had, their goal was to retire and to enjoy the West Coast. And literally within a couple of months, they were both diagnosed with terminal cancer. Well, my father ended up passing in the summer of 2016. My mom, actually, whose cancer was much more severe, ended up passing in 2017, December of 2017. And my marriage of 26 years had ended as well. And so there was a lot of stuff that happened in a short period of time that got me to really, reflect and do a lot of work on myself. Okay. In terms of, some real soul searching. And so I realized that I really wasn't happy with transactional real estate anymore. It was a grind. The passion was gone. And I was basically, burnt out for all intents and purposes. And so then I started to look at the EXP stuff.
Well, at some point, right? I mean, if you've been in this business long enough, you worked hard enough, at some point, your mind does change from active income, traditional active income to passive income, right? And it's all about timing.
Yeah. And so I did a deep dive, and I ended up going to a shareholder summit in, I want to say, the late spring of 2018 in Las Vegas, and had on the West Coast, had a lovely dinner with the founder and CEO, and spent 3 or 4 hours going over our goals and dreams, and it was a pretty cool meeting. And the rest is history, right? And so that that relationship has really changed my business trajectory in terms of being able to love on and share my successes and failures with literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, so that thousands of people. I mean, um, and to help them be the best version of themselves, right?
Right.
In a holistic manner, Andre. It's not the business is good and whatever, but as we know, we're we're not in control, right? We may think we are in control, but we're not in control, and we can be humbled very, very quickly.
Right.
And so it's to take that holistic approach to have people work harder on themselves than anything else, and to really lean into those that lean into us, and to celebrate those successes. We've got quite a few members in our group that are, first year licensees that have achieved, icon agent status, which is, a top 2% international award. And it's just by that coachability and that ardent hunger and desire to want to win and succeed. Right. And so that really, really, floats my boat these days, is seeing people that want to win at the highest level, and in whichever way that is, whether it be a productive real estate business, their health goals, relationship goals, what have you.
That's awesome. So now you're able to invest in these people that were like yourself, maybe new into the field, and saying, "Hey, I want to sell 100 houses." My first year, you would say, "Great, let's unpack that and put a plan together." Right?
You got it. And why limit yourself? Why not 200? Like, really, right? Why be in a box, right? And not outside of the box. It's no box, right? There's no box.
Exactly.
And that's the environment that we create in. And as you know yourself, having been, extensively and massively successful in the real estate space, and in coaching and leadership, as well as, it's a real blessing to be able to touch these lives and to share our journey, and help people be, again, the best they can be, right? And whatever way that looks for them.
Yeah, it's different for everyone, but yeah, when I share with people that, I get the most excitement out of, changing people's lives. I think they look at you a little funny because they don't really know what that means. Thinking just selling more homes and the American dream, which is fantastic of doing all that. But at some point in your life, like I said, when you do this long enough and get enough gray hair, at some point, most people want to either slow down so they can enjoy their kids and their grandkids and travel, or something happens, and life makes them slow down. Are they prepared for the next step? And it sounds like you've done a fantastic job with your team and changing people's lives as well.
Yeah. And again, it's, it's being in that environment and that platform that allows you to be able to scale, right? And that allows you to, just be crazy in your goals and ambition. I think it's so important. And again, as a young agent, I shrugged it off. I was shrugging that off, that the environment I was in was not conducive to my success. And I think when we really kind of study, we end up being students of the success game. In that, what you realize is that when people start to get upset about your success, or resent you, or envy that success, and gossip, or throw stones at you, is that your success is really making them feel inferior.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of warming up to someone and saying, "Hey, Andre, man, listen, like, look at what you're doing, your family, your faith, your, what you've accomplished in business and your health goals. And like, I want to do what you're doing,
Yeah.
and humble yourself." They end up not liking you, because it's easier for them to not like you and resent you than it is to say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe I should do what this person is doing here and play the game at the highest level, and have a bit of humility," right? It's the tall poppy syndrome, right? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay. So there's two ways to build the best building in the world. Okay. And the biggest, the first way is to have the best team, best architects, best construction team, best materials and vision, and build that building. And then the next best way is to tear everyone else's down.
Mm.
Right. So yeah, tall poppy. I think it comes from Australia. So
I love
that's
it.
yeah. So that's you got to work harder on yourself than anything else. I think is one of the key things. And what Zig Ziglar always said, right? You know what? You'll get everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they
Get what they
wanted.
want.
Yeah, and being in a model that is conducive to your success.
What about the model that you're currently in now? That's really what's the top 2 or 3 things that has really been a game changer for you? That I mean, obviously, that other office that you were at, that the people that had the vision that wanted to see you succeed and was in that environment, that was really a great situation.
Yeah.
But what do you have now that you didn't even have there before?
So that's a great question. And, that would have been a sprinter car situation. And now I'm in F1.
Mm.
Okay. And so it's the evolution of what's happening in the industry, right? It's that, our founder and CEO of our situation understood very quickly that he would have, massive success by giving everything away.
Right.
And so by giving the company to all of us, by giving the revenue, by giving the education, the technology, he's been blessed with success that is unprecedented for any founder of a real estate company. I don't see Gary Keller or Dave Liniger on the Forbes list. So I think that speaks volumes. And, in the process of our founder becoming a billionaire, he's made many of us multimillionaires in that journey. And so it's the scalability, it's the energy that the people bring, and that passion and ownership, Andre, as really changes everything, right?
Huge.
It's like when you're renting a home versus you own your home. Well, in our business, we own our businesses, as and it's a game changer.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's been life-changing for me and a lot of my business partners. And that's been most of the biggest thrilling thing for me, is to be able to help someone that was already doing well. But for them to, 2, 3, 4 times that income wise, but then see that they're spending more time at home and giving away a lot of their business to their team members now, instead of doing so much themselves because they had to pay the bills. But with the 8 different ways of earning income within our business model, you're able to give a lot of that away to your team members, help them grow, help them get to their next level, and us be able to spend more time with our families and do other things.
Amen to that, man. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, any last minute things that you'd like to share about your success and what you've done, and that may be able to really provide a lot of value for our listeners today?
I think that you've got to understand that the more the more you don't know. Like I find the older I get, the more I realize that I don't know anything, and so no, I'm being serious, man. Is you've got to be on a journey of learning. Okay. And really, really, really focus on your learning and your education, and understanding that learners are earners. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And humble yourself. If you see someone that is out there succeeding at a massive level, don't dislike them. Don't, talk ill of them or anything like that. Go meet them. Say, hey, I want to go for coffee with you. You know what? Anyone who's a true leader will give you the time of day. Okay.
Right.
Right. You know that. I know that.
Right.
I mean, people reach out to us. I mean, it's like, hey, listen, how can I help you? Right. And so humble yourself and change your mindset from that resenting, envious type of behavior to, wow, how can I have that life that you've created for yourself? Right. And approach those people. And there's power in proximity, right? So surround yourself with people that are playing the game in, whatever facet is that you see as success, with those types of people in your life. And I think that's a big one for me. So.
Absolutely. If you could do anything different as far as getting plugged into the new EXP model and all the success that you've had, if you could do anything differently, what would that be?
Listen to my buddy when he reached out to me in 2015 or 14. Like, are you kidding me? Do you know how much that mistake cost me? Yeah. You know what? Have an open mind. Be open to new ideas. Just be completely open, right? And so I was so closed. I was stuck in transactional real estate on the treadmill, and yeah, to have engaged a lot sooner.
Yeah. I ask that question to everybody, and that's the 99% of the time. That's the answer is they wish they would have really took a deeper dive when they first heard about it, or sooner than they did. But hey, you're here now. You actually got plugged in, I think, just a little bit before I did. I was February of 2019, and
I was mid to late 2018. Yeah.
So hey, it's been awesome to be in business with you, Phil. Thanks
Likewise.
for jumping on our call today. I always ask people at the end, if you're a movie watcher, what's your number one all-time movie that you love? Or if you're a reader, what's the absolute best book that you'd like to recommend?
Okay. Great book. I love, oh my gosh, there's so many, but Brideshead Revisited and J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye.
Okay.
Catcher in the Rye was a great book. And the Bible. Timeless. And then movie, I don't know. Goodfellas is pretty much up there in The Departed.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Hey, I'm super excited to have our conversation today, Phil. Looking forward to our next live event that we will bump into again. And hey, if I can do anything for you, you know how to reach me.
Likewise.
And looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for your time today, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Andre. Thanks for having me. And it was a real pleasure. And let's go out and create some magic.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Have a good day, buddy.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.